everybody! How are you? I have got the Rain Spencer hair this morning and I've got the Barbara Cartland earrings. Flashback to the 80s, everybody. The dogs have just come in. It's already been a morning of joy. I'm just about to, I'm just brewing my tea here, so I'm just about to pour it because I think we'll all do a lot better when I've got a cup of tea in my hand. Anyway, how is everybody? Last week felt particularly sort of rudderless for me. Just felt like I was in the doldrums, which is a sort of sailing term when there's no wind. And you're just there, waiting, just kind of going, you know that you're going to get moving again at some point, but you're just in the doldrums. And it's a very uncomfortable place to be, but you're just there. And, you know, you just gotta get on with it. You've just got to be with it. So that was what I was picking up last week. It's just this feeling of feeling a bit rudderless, in the doldrums, not any wind in the sails. And as I say, that's just what I was picking up. But, you know, I'm interested to know how everybody else felt last week. The card that we had as the overarching theme last week was reassurance, and it's very interesting because I picked another card for this week, and it's a very kind of similar theme, and I wonder whether it's because we're going into a new moon. So I think we've got the new moon coming in on Thursday this week. Hang on. We have got new moon in Gemini on Thursday, which means that we're going into a dark moon. So we've got an amplification of all those shadow aspects. We've also had that with our lunar eclipse, and we've got Mercury retrograde. So there's a lot in retrograde apparently, not just Mercury. And so there's a lot of reflection and us maybe not being able to hide those shadow aspects as well as we have in the past. They're all coming up. They're coming up there, right there. And I'm always, I don't know why this is coming to me, but I'm just going to say it anyway. But I'm getting this picture of when I was really sick, I used to watch a lot of TV just to kind of, oh, there's a balloon, a hot air balloon out my window. Oh, how amazing. It's a gorgeous day for it, let me tell you. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, when I was sick, I would watch a lot of television. And at one point, I got really into Scientology, watching the behaviors, watching that cult, how cults operate more than any, not just particularly Scientologists, but a lot of them. And there were, there was this BBC documentary that I watched, and it was before Louis Theroux's. And basically, there was this BBC guy, interviewer, and he was trying to get, I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he's done a whole series, I think he's called Mike, with Leah Remini, who left Scientology, an American actress. Anyway, this poor BBC journalist is interviewing them and they attack him. Like that is their form of defense. It's attack. You don't know what you're talking about. How do you know? And you're BBC and you're this. You know, they immediately kind of victimize somebody and shame them and blame them. I mean, it's full on watching it. Prepare yourself. If you're an empath like me, it's quite challenging. And while I was watching it, I felt really quite unwell, but it was so interesting because Mike, who subsequently left Scientology, was there, and he was like the front runner, and he was laying in, and there he was attacking and all the rest of it. And then, I don't know how many years later, 5-10 years later, he's left the cult, okay? And he starts to reveal all these stories about what have happened in the cult. As I say, I've no idea why I'm sharing this, but it feels to me like the shadow work that's coming up, certainly as we're going into this dark moon, as I say, all the, you know, the lunar eclipse and all the other planetary things that are going on in retrograde. I feel like there's going to be, it feels like there's going to be some truth tellers coming out. That people are just going to go, I've fucking had enough. I've had enough of the pretending. I've had enough of the pretending. I am sharing it as it is. And I do feel the more people leave, I mean, you know, we can all be members of cults in terms of, you know, how we can get in these sort of very deep mindsets around what is right versus, you know, what, yeah, we live in a diverse universe and, you know, and a world and everything's different. When we get in that black and white polarity consciousness, oof, that's where the ego traps are. That's where the ego traps are. Where you are calling somebody out on a behavior and behind closed doors you're doing the same thing, you know? Especially in religion, you know? How many, you know, preaching the word of God and and then going back home and beating their wives or, you know, worse, a lot worse. So it's like we really want to see the integrity, we want to see the truth. And I feel as we go into these really shadow places, it's uncomfortable for us all. It's uncomfortable for us all. But it's going to be really uncomfortable for those who have not done the work and who have not had the courage to leave, okay, because of the shame they might feel. I just feel it's going to be like when the proverbial, you know, spot bursts, you know, the boil, it's just going to come out. People are just going to go, that's it, I've had enough. It's going to come out. So anyway, the card that we have as the overarching theme for the week, this week, is as a result, and it's beautiful, love it, nurturing. Maybe can't read that. These are from my cards, Cultivating Compassion, when I was doing my nonviolent communication course. Nurturing. Okay, so that's our overarching theme because, you know, even when we're full of shame, if we're not nurturing ourselves, when we've got a shame story coming, if we're not nurturing ourselves and filling ourselves up with love, that shame will either silence us or it will bring out a really unpleasant part of us, whatever, of us. So just be mindful of really being kind and generous to yourself this week. Okay, we have cards number 1, 2, and 3. I put them up in my story yesterday. Basically, we have Caroline Myss as number 1, Wisdom of the Oracle, number 2, a lot of red this week, Jen, and we've got Saltwater, reading cards by Laura Bowen. Okay, so card number 1 for the week. Let me put my cards number 1 and 2 away. I've got a whole other bunch of decks of cards because I woke up this morning and I was like, I have no idea how this is going to go today because I can just feel this very kind of ambivalent energy around my dog, who normally my dogs come charging into the bed in the morning, and little Calvin came charging, yay! And he leaps on the bed normally. He went to leap on the bed, caught his little paw in a hole in the blanket that's on the bed because it's so cold, and then flung over and fell onto the floor whimpering. And I was like, oh shit, this is not a good omen for the week ahead. Anyway, I nurtured him. Brought him up, smothered him in lots of blankets and cuddled him until he'd stop shaking, okay? And I kind of feel that could be the week that we have. It's like we're going to be, yay, it's going to be great, it's going to be great. Face plant. Okay, chai tea, blankets, soft things to sort of, you know, touch. Bit of satin, a dog to stroke, a pussycat to stroke, all of that. We're going to need that this week. Okay, card number 1. Caroline Myss, I picked them last night. Caroline Myss card number 1 is the engineer. Okay? Engineer. Ability to give creative energy a practical expression. Wait for this. Talent for designing creative, ingenious solutions to like worldwide problems. Okay? You know those people that just suddenly see something in a different way. They have this incredible ability to go, oh, hang on, let's just do a bit of a reframe here. How about we do this? Or have we thought about this? This is a week where I feel like, you know, under the compost that's been brewing, under the shit that's been brewing and layer upon layer, there's going to be this seedling that's going to come up with the new moon. I just feel it. I feel it. So just watching yourself, that there could be a reframing of something that you've always seen one way, that you suddenly go, oh, hadn't even thought about that. Or maybe we could do it this way. Often my husband on the farm will go, you know, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And I'll go, oh, have you thought about doing that? And he'll go, oh my God, how did you think of that? I don't know, it just made sense to me. Because I'm all about save time to do things that you really love, you know. So I'm a bit of a, you know, naturally person that likes to naturally sort of, you know, curl up on a sofa with a good book and a cup of tea. And so I like to look for creative solutions that make sure I've got a lot of time for that. The shadow aspect, okay, to the engineer is reliance on mechanistic solutions. So I feel this is very much in reference to our logical mind, where we're like, go in there to think. Oh, let me think. Okay, how did we do it before? How has it been done before? Let me think. Oh, let's go back. What can we find something else? It's like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about getting out of this mind, this logical mind, and allowing something else to come through. Okay? And also, it says here, without regard for emotional consequences. How many rules and regulations came into play and continue to have come into play during this, you know, last year and a bit, that have separated families. I mean, I've not seen my daughter in the UK now for over a year. It's her 25th birthday this month. Saturday morning, out of nowhere, floods of tears. Just feeling really, really, really sad. You know, I had her 25 years ago in New York City, and nothing would give me greater pleasure than being able to see her. But I live in a country which has shut its international borders, which has kept us all very safe. We have a very safe country, but it's meant that, you know, she has a life in the UK. She can't just come over and visit. She can come and repatriate here, come back and live here. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And, you know, there were plenty of people who weren't able to go and see loved ones who were dying in hospital. That kind of, you know, those kind of mechanistic decisions, rules that lack empathy. Yeah, not so good. I think we can do better as humanity. I really do. I really do. And I feel that the engineer this week is coming in and going, I know we've done it this way, but can we allow other voices through? Can we allow other voices the airspace to hear what they've maybe got to say? So, card number 1, engineer. What's that? It's like it's coming in. You've got ingenious solutions to to kind of like big problems, worldwide problems, and maybe just within your own life too. You know, it's always, you know, out in, you know, maybe it's a solution that you haven't seen before. But it's not going to be found in here in the logical mind. So really kind of open that heart space up. Open yourself up. Open yourself up. Okay, card number 2, Wisdom of the Oracle. We have the Community card. I love, it's got a giraffe on. I tell you why I love it that it's got a giraffe on, because in nonviolent communication, they have these 2 ways to listen to people. You can either listen to people with jackal ears, which is like, you're wrong, and I'm about to attack you because of it, okay? Or you can listen with giraffe ears, which is this beautiful empathy where you're just able to hear with empathy. Just go, yeah, okay. But you can only hear with empathy when somebody's telling you their truth. It's very hard to hear with empathy when you know somebody's bullshitting you. You know, you can kind of go, when they're pretending. It's like, just tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on. And that can sometimes be the frustration, which is why we can feel so safe. I was at this gig last night. Amazing guy, Steve Albini. Albini. God, I wish I could get his name right. Anyway, he was just this old rocker. Oh my God, with a voice like you cannot imagine. It was like a little afternoon gig. And we went along, and there he is. He's got the old 80s, 90s hair, the eye makeup. He looks like Johnny Depp. You know, half Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, he's done his 36 years of hardcore drugs. He's now in his 50s. He's been clean for 22 years. And my God, he had that whole room in tears. He came out to sing this story of suffering. People suffering from depression, just struggling. I mean, it's hard not to struggle in a world that has got jackal ears, not giraffe ears. He came out and he said, it's hard to sing a song, a sad song, and kind of make it feel a bit upbeat. So he got his ukulele out, came out into the crowd. No microphone, nothing. Just was singing amongst us. And he said, I'll find the person that needs this the most. And he found this woman, and her husband had his arm around her. And she was crying. I was crying. Simon was crying. I mean, honestly, there's not a dry eye in the audience. And he just sang to her. He just sang to her, and she sobbed. And it was so beautiful. His voice was so beautiful. And at the end, he just gave her a hug. Oh, that's a community I want to live in. That's a community I want to live in, you know, where we can all cry together. And we're all standing up, cheering him at the end, all of that. And he talked about how he, you know, stolen money to get his, you know, drugs and all of that. Totally transformed his life. Totally transformed his life. So community this week. I feel this, how can we listen with empathy? How can we honor people who are sharing their truth? You know, so often, you know, I see how people will share their truth on social media and people will weaponize that against them. Don't do that. People are sharing their truth. It takes so much courage. That's why we need the giraffe ears. Wow. It's amazing that you've got through that. I so admire you. I'm so inspired by you. Don't throw them back into the ditch. God. Okay, essential meaning of community. Belonging, being seen, understood by others, like-minded connections, a sense of family and friendship, knowing your place in the world. Here's the thing. Community is not always found with your family of origin. You might have been hugely misunderstood, vilified, victimized, shamed for who you were. Okay, So not everybody feels safe, heard, supported, loved within their family of origin, okay? So let's put that hallmark version of the world to the side, okay? Community happens when we have the courage to belong to all parts of ourselves, okay? The gnarly, pointy edge parts get tired and emotional, pissed off, sad, frustrated, angry, all of that. When we can belong to those parts as well as the joyful, restorative, nurturing, kind, supportive parts, that's when we become more aligned with our integrity. Just like Steve was last night, so in his integrity, taking ownership of all of it. Okay, that's when we find our communities around us, people who also want to do the same thing, who are actually taking their armor off and saying, this is who I am. I'm not perfect, I'm human. I'm human. I'm human. And being human means I'm going to trip up and face plant. That's just it. And it doesn't mean I'm any less of a person. It means I am a human. Okay? What am I going to read here? Prosperity message. Whenever you're in a community of like-minded others, there is a powerful opportunity to reap great abundance. And it's essential to ask, what can I contribute? Rather than what can I get from this? We all know those people that want more out of the cookie jar. Feel more entitled. Feel more entitled. I'm more educated. I've worked harder. Yeah, I'm more entitled. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's the biggest ego trap around. Figure out a need and look to fill it. That's why I love my needs cards. That's why I always work with needs with my clients. What do you need? Figure out a need and look to fill it. Something meaningful will manifest. Just be patient. Even if what manifests is small, it's a sign that the doors of opportunity will swing open wider. There is also another meaning of this card to consider. Don't try to be all things to all people. Choose your role and be true to it and serve from a sense of authenticity. There is no greater feeling of accomplishment than knowing you have purpose. So, listen, I know there's a lot of tired mamas out there in the world, and I've got to say that sometimes our purpose is just getting out of bed and, you know, making our kids breakfast, sending them off to school and climbing back into bed. You know, locking ourselves in the bathroom when we need 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. You know, a lot of nurturing energy. I see you mamas, I really do. I see you single mums out there doing it, you know, and how you lean in and do it on your own. It is not easy, and I know, I feel that we could be doing better to support women who are doing it on their own. I really do. And that's why I work really only with women, to help them, to build them up, to support them, to love on them. Because I know what it's like. I know what it's like as a mum. I mean, I was always fortunate having a husband around, but you know, it's hard. It's exhausting. I'm gonna bring up the protection message as well. Beware of compromising your integrity in order to belong. We all do that fitting in thing, you know. I'm gonna dress like this and then I'm part of this gang. Just be yourself. I'm going to speak like this lot, so I feel, my sister used to call it PLUs, probably still does. People like us, darling. People like us. okay? Don't do that. Just don't do that. Don't dim. Thanks, you Instagram telling me I've been on for 30 minutes. Do you hide who you really are in order to play a role within the larger whole? This will never fulfill you. Now is a time to assess your willingness to be real. Stand tall, be you. Authenticity is true self-expression and the only way to empower yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself and step into the role your heart tells you to take. Making yourself small bears too high a cost. Oh, as a recovering perfectionist, as an empath, and a sensitive person who kept all of this hidden, let me tell you, this wasn't coming out the bag. I had quite a few people had very strong opinions in my family about this sort of thing, okay? So, you know, it's taken a lot of work to find the courage to share my voice, to, you know, speak my truth as I see it. You know, it doesn't have to be true for you. That's why we have to hear lots of different voices, because then it helps us understand what it is like to be human for everybody, not just me. So just watch that this week as we're kind of going into that dark moon. You know, really hold on to who you are. Don't get dragged into, you know, those popular, you know, trends of being this or being that, or supporting this or that. You know, do what feels right for you, honestly. Okay, do you. And ask, how do I contribute to my community? What's my gift? What's my gift to share? Okay, I've just had a bit of a dribble here, so I'm just going to see if I've got a bit of paper towel. Last card. How's everybody going? We're doing well. Last card. Laura Bowen is my teacher, how to do my oracle cards, which are, just want to say, not coming along well. I started trying to paint last week. Wasn't having a bar of it. I'm hoping this week is going to be better. But again, you know, just got to be with what you're going to be with. I'm refusing to force myself at the moment. I'm not doing that pressure thing. I've done it for years and I'm not doing it. So if it means I'm just sitting drinking tea and brushing the kitchen floor, that's what I'm doing. Okay? Okay. Card for card number 3 is the reef. Look at all that diversity. Look at all that diversity. I have been blessed to go up to the Great Barrier Reef. Oh my God. The Whitsundays. Oh my God. I feel tearful. I actually cry every time I fly back. We've been twice and we've got a little boat charter. You literally go, it's not like, you know, going down to the Caribbean as I used to when I lived in the States, but you get your wee boat and off you go. And there's no restaurants, there's nothing. When you're out there, you go to all these islands, there's nothing, they're deserted. It's like, what was that film Brooke Shield was in? Blue Lagoon. It's a bit like that. We're on these deserted islands, there's nobody there. There's a few people sometimes camping. There's nobody there. So you wake up in the boat in the morning and there's turtles and rainbow fish and there's just, you dive in and you know, in amongst the car, you're just like, oh my God, and there's birds and there's noise coming from the islands that you're just, it's like Jurassic Park. It's wild. It's wild. It is wild. So here is what Laura says. Basically, Australia has many fertile reefs teeming with amazing variety and aquatic flora and fauna. It really does. The most famous reef in Australia is the Great Barrier Reef, which contains many threatened species that are unique to this area. The Great Barrier Reef is considered a natural wonder of the world and something that should be cared for and preserved for generations to come. I heard some beautiful stories of people that are doing incredible work at regenerating that part of the world. So, you know, underneath, I'm going to share something else. Underneath Okay, now I'm going to share it now. I saw my girlfriend, a gorgeous friend, Carly, who's an Aboriginal woman who lives in this area, and I popped into her office. I studied with her mum and on trauma, and she works in trauma recovery, and has lots of trauma programs that go out into remote Aboriginal communities and help rebuild the community. Anyway, in the corner of her office is the Koori Mail. And the Koori Mail is the Indigenous newspaper. And I used to, when I was studying, I used to do comparative analysis of the Koori Mail versus the Australian, which is the mainstream broadsheet newspaper, White Australia newspaper, okay? And I'd open it up and there would be, oh my God, drama in Aboriginal community, you know, drug, alcohol, drama, children being taken away because parents can't look after them, okay? Open the Koori Mail, oh my God, Indigenous, you know, songwriting contest, they've won this, you know, amazing, you know, community programs going on, you know, mothers coming together to keep children safe. Pulls apart. So anyway, I pick it up as I walk into her office and it's like this. It's like, and actually, Laura is actually an Aboriginal woman, so it's so interesting that I'm talking about this. But it's like this. It's diverse. I'm opening it and I'm like, oh my God, all this is going on. She says my mum comes in here all the time, picks up the Koori Mail and goes, oh, thank God there's good stuff going on. So much good stuff goes on under the radar. So much good stuff goes on under the radar we don't hear about. Because it doesn't hit the mainstream news, because the mainstream news is still seen through a white male lens, you know? And more women are fighting against that. More and more broadcasters. I listened to Emma, I think it's Emma Barnett from Woman's Hour on the BBC. Wrote a book all about periods. She said, she wrote in a post today, she, you know, went to see a publisher, was like, please don't write about lady stuff. Please don't write about Brexit or something much more political. She was like, fuck you. I'm not doing that. Kate Winslet. Do not edit out my stomach hanging out as I'm having this mad sexual scene. That's what I'm talking about. We need to see all of it. There is so much abundance out there if we see it through the lens of diversity. But when we see it in that very kind of polarizing one, quite privileged, it's not good. Okay? Anyway, the reef reminds us of abundance that is available to us in every day. There is so much diversity within the structure of the reef. The waters are fertile and food is plentiful. Many different species have found a way to live together within the same space, and this offers us a visually beautiful and very rich environment. That's what I'm talking about. A very rich environment where we're all sharing our truths, revealing more of ourselves to our communities so we can see all of it. I personally follow loads of women in body positivity. I am not a size 8. I'm a size 12, 14. I've got curves. Let me show you my curves. Yeah, all of that. Got lots of curves. I do not look like the majority of women who are advertising to women, especially a woman of my age. So I've started to follow just a whole spectrum. Oh, I haven't started to follow. I started last year, but you know, I add more to it all the time. So that when I look in the mirror, I'm not going, oh my God, look at this. I'm going, oh my God, I've got such a strong body. It gave birth to 3 beautiful children, one of who's about to be 25. It recovered, it can walk the dogs, it can walk along the beach, it swims in the sea, it can hug people, it can speak, Yes! Don't you dare make it about our curves. Don't you dare make it about our bodies and what they look like. We are so much more than that. We are so much more than that. Didn't think I was going to do that big reveal today, but there you go. So what happens when you've got your Barbara Cartland earrings on and your Rain Spencer hair? Could go all over the place. So this week, nurturing, we're going into a dark moon and a new moon. A new moon always is like opening up. As I said, it feels like the compost pile is just about to reveal. Oh, a shoot. Simon has got this huge compost pile out under all these chips of wood chip, and he adds all sorts of things to it. And we've started having native trees, like literally native indigenous species of trees pop up, start growing there. We haven't planted them. The seeds have just started to grow. And I kind of feel that's where we are this week, that we're still in that slightly challenging. We still need to anchor ourselves down to our own belonging by being honest and truthful about who we are to ourselves first, and then to other people that we can trust. Okay, first of all, don't take it out to the big bad world just yet. It's not big bad world, but you know what I mean. Share your stories with people who've got the capacity to hear them with giraffe ears. Okay, kind, empathy, generosity. Okay, lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in. Have this beautiful nurturing energy, Kuan Yin energy around us. Okay, be really generous to ourselves. Any solutions to any drama that might be going on in your life, or anything that you're a bit confused by, just get out of your head. You will find the solution probably here. It'll just come through. Okay, don't keep pushing, don't keep researching. It's gonna come. It's just gonna come through to you. Somebody's gonna say something when you're out doing something, you're painting, listening to a podcast like I am at the moment. That's it. Okay, and just watch those kind of logical solutions that don't take this into consideration, don't take the heart space into consideration. We've got to operate more from here. Community, giraffe ears. Don't forfeit your belonging to fit in. Be true to yourself. Don't become part of a little club or a little gang or a little, these are our kind of people over here. No, be able to relate to everybody. Yeah, there might be some people that get you a bit more than others, but inclusion, everybody, inclusion. Some people you have to keep a little bit further away from you, and that's okay. You can love them from afar. Let them do their work, their stuff. And then when they become more tolerant and more accepting, they can come closer, okay? Glennon Doyle has a wonderful, wonderful story about this in her book, Untamed. Island. She's on an island. Moat. Okay, drawbridge goes down. People who are accepting, loving, non-judgmental. Come in. If you're going to bring in all your, bias and judgment, sorry, drawbridge is up. Okay, do more of that. And, people that do the work, they get to come in and be with you. But you have to do the work in you first. You have to clear your judgment of who you are, okay, first. And the reef, all that abundance is out there. All that joy is out there. All that diversity is out there. So I feel like just being grateful for what you have got, just like I did with my body, I'm grateful for all the things that it is, not all the things that it's not, okay? So let's do more of that. And have a gorgeous week. Be kind to yourselves with this new moon coming in, and new moon in Gemini. I'm not an astrologer, so I don't have much to offer in there, but Lydia Trellis on Instagram is. I'll tag her. You can, or she always puts a post up on. There's some great people who always put posts on about what's going on in the astro domain. So check those people out for that kind of information if you're looking for what the astro weather is going to be like this week. But yeah, take good care, lots of love, and I'll see you next week. Bye. How do I get out of here again?